Hey folks, it's Tommy Z, and in this video, this is an impromptu video. One of the videos on the Z&Co YouTube channel recently blew up. I'm grateful for the fact that the video has gotten more exposure, but what that also means is there's a lot of people who have no context who visit you. They listen to you for a few seconds and then they jump to certain conclusions, and I want to address all of that in this video. I'm actually going to set a timer because I want to do this in like less than 15 minutes. All right, so I'm going to go through some of the comments that I've screenshotted for myself. And here we go. Let me start with the first comment. So Daryl Marks asks, so which business are you focusing on? Selling music to brands or selling your training? How many songs have you gotten used in ads? So Daryl, first of all, that's a very good question. But I think it's also a strange question in a way, because anyone can focus on more than one thing, can they not? I mean, I don't see people asking Hans Zimmer, hey, how come you have a course on masterclass on composing? Which one are you focusing on? Are you focusing on making films, or are you focusing on selling courses? Nobody asks Timbaland, hey, are you focused on making beats or growing your Discord community or selling your course on Masterclass? Because Timbaland also has a course on Masterclass. So I've always found the question curious in a way, because it's like, well, who would you rather learn from, actually? Like, who would be the best person to learn from? If you want to make a living with your musical skill, would you rather go and learn from someone who's not doing it, like a professor in some college where you got to pay tens of thousands for a diploma, and then these people show up with their fancy diploma to music production companies like mine, and they're like, hey, I have a diploma, a fancy one. I mean, if I was starting today, I would literally find the people who are doing what I want to be doing, and I would find a way to learn from them. If they're selling a course, I would make that decision. How much is the course worth? What is the curriculum? What are the credentials? And am I in? I'm certainly not going to be wasting my time trying to put together my own curriculum from YouTube, because that usually turns into distracted browsing. That doesn't actually lead to a goal. The difference in the course is that you have a structured curriculum. But anyway, I appreciate the honest intent behind your question, and we are doing both, okay? And I appreciate you asking, like, how many songs have you actually sold? If you want to see what kind of work I have done, there is probably like 1% of it, some of the work that I'm proud of, on TommyZ.co. I'll link below. But you'll get an idea that we're not just trying to sell you a course. We're actually creating music for brands. I've done it for the past 20 years. And about 3 years ago, after being tired, because I've done close to 1,000 commercials, and I wanted to find a new way to inspire myself. And I enjoy doing this. I enjoy mentoring. It's actually a lot more fulfilling for me to show a musician our business, introduce them to it, and see their talent being rewarded financially than it is for me to do another Nike commercial. We still do commercials, but quite honestly, I just do it for the money. I find teaching musicians and showing them a path to monetize their musical skill a lot more rewarding. So TommyZ.co, if you want to check out the credentials, and Daryl, believe me, you can and you should do more than one thing. So do what you're good at. And if you can teach your craft to others, do that also. Why not? Okay, folks, next question comes from Sumaka Bob 485. The hidden path. Sell your soul to brands. So Sumaka Bob 485 is alluding to our thumbnail title, which is The Hidden Path. And there's literally a path on the thumbnail, and sell your soul to brands. Well, Sumaka Bob 485, I would never ever want to be responsible for anyone selling their soul to anyone, anything, any brand, or any business. okay? I've had this long internal debate within myself a long time ago, and I've managed to align everything in my mind, to put everything in its right place, as Radiohead would say. And that is this. The reason why I have decided to lend my musical skill and not my soul to brands is so that I can spend my life in the studio rather than in a job that I am not particularly passionate about or suited for. Granted, there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of terrible ads being made. There's a lot of really, really stupid requests that sometimes make you feel like your soul is being sucked out of you. But that was happening in my day job before I got into this business. I felt like my soul was getting sucked out of me anyway. And I was working for a brand. We're all working for a brand. So the difference is, like, are you getting your paycheck from a brand for something that you're passionate about and skilled at? Something that's related to your field of fascination? Or are you just working at a day job? And I decided that I would rather lease my musical skills to brands, and not all brands. We don't accept all jobs. It's really up to you as a craftsperson to define your ethos, to define your philosophy and say, I'm willing to do this, I'm not willing to do that. All right. But I certainly would never advocate to sell your soul to anybody. But I would advocate that you consider selling your musical skill so you can keep yourself in a studio for half the day, at least get paid for it. And then the other half the day, make your art and keep your soul alive without having to leave your studio. Because let's face it, if you have to leave your studio and drive a forklift or work in a warehouse or work in customer service or sit in a cubicle all day, you're not going to have the energy by the time you get home from work. And I know this from personal experience. So I'd rather keep myself in the studio morning, afternoon, and evening, sometimes late night if projects require, but I do not advocate selling your soul. Oh my goodness, we have 7 minutes left and so many more criticisms to address. Let's go. Jaya Love. This is not, I remember this one. This is actually not a criticism, but I want to clarify it. Thanks for the info, though. I will say plenty of people are talking about sync licensing in the music industry. It's not a secret. Because our video is titled The Secret, you know, like a lot of clickbaity videos. So, but Jaya, we are not talking about sync licensing. That's the whole point. Is like our hidden world and our secret is that there is countless musicians that you've never heard about that are literally, as we speak, writing a song or a score or doing some sound design right now from scratch to a rough edit of a future brand campaign or a piece of content. They're not licensing their music. They are writing it from scratch to a particular creative brief. And that is a part of our industry that most musicians don't know about, including me 20 years ago. And most of the musicians who actually got into our academy and they said, you know, our eyes are like open to this thing. Like I've never known about it. I thought brands license their music. I thought it's about sync. I thought it's about music libraries. It's none of those things. Of course it happens. There are going to be moments when people decide to buy an existing demo of yours or a track you made before. But we are talking specifically about writing songs, scores, or sounds from scratch as commissioned by a music production company like mine and many others that exist in this business. All right, next one. That was an easy one. Dub Mayer says, you don't really have an orange Z programmed on your push and then like a raised eyebrow. We'll get these up on the screen so you can see. Dub Mayer, I must confess, I do have an orange Z programmed onto my push. It took me about 2.5 minutes and a few revisions when it wasn't really symmetrical and it wasn't aligning. But the more embarrassing thing, Dub Mayer, is this. It's actually the only way that I have used my push recently. Okay? So like the thing that people don't understand in our business is I am a music producer, which in our side of the business, it means that I actually get projects and I hire hand-pick for each project freelance musicians who will actually create the music. So I'm not doing a lot of music creation these days, all right? So the push is collecting dust. And it's kind of sad, it is, that when I take the dust cover off, the only thing I use it for is to load up an Ableton session that has the Z so it can look slick in the videos. I appreciate you noticing, and I know it's a bit sad, but you know what? The pros outweigh the cons, so I'm going to keep it. Celia Chapin 5317 says, excuse me, but this video was posted 2 years ago, yet it's about how you make a living in 2023. I understand as a content creator, you have to get a little clickbaity sometimes, but that title is an outright lie. I'll still give you your content a chance. I'll still give your content a chance because this stuff is really what I want to know, but you have aroused my skepticism. Okay, noted. Edit. Okay, maybe outright lie is an exaggeration. It's possible that the message is still true 2 years later, which it is, and this is why we decided, like we went through all the videos and we said, hey, the principle still stands. We just had a call recently, by the way, with one of the busiest music production companies in our space. And maybe it'll be up on this YouTube channel by the time you see this video, but it's coming soon. Look for it, okay? It's basically the state of the industry. 2023, it's September, and I called one of the busiest producers in the world who's working on the biggest brand campaigns. I said, how is it going? Has AI replaced you? Has anything changed that we teach in our academy? And he said, no, business is still booming. We're doing more work than ever. And it's all the same. The principles have not changed. They have not changed since I got into the business 20 years ago, folks. All right. I find it hard to believe that nothing has changed. Things are changing, but the principles that we teach have not changed. They're very simple. It's how to put yourself together, who to contact, how to contact them, so on and so forth. You'll find the videos, other videos that are very specific and concrete on this channel. It definitely seems manipulative and makes me disinclined to trust you. Well, unfortunately, sometimes we have to pay the price of like an initial skeptical reaction or even criticism in order to get someone to click. And my philosophy is like, as long as what you're actually selling or what you represent or the value that you bring to the table is honest, it is authentic, and you have the credentials, then, sometimes we have to play a little dirty in order to get people to click. Because if you look at what's happening right now, everybody has turned into squirrels, okay? And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to save the folks who are endlessly scrolling on their phone and to say, hey guys, stop scrolling and commit to a path. Give us a few weeks, a few months of your time, and at least set a deliberate destination and start using whatever spare time you have to move toward that deliberate destination, okay? And I have never gotten criticism from the people who know us, from anyone inside of our academy, that we're doing dirty stuff, that we're not really delivering what we promised. But sometimes when people step into, our world for the first time, they might get a little upset over these clickbaity things. Yes, they happen, but I think what I don't like personally is when I click on somebody, even if it was clickbait, and then they do not give me anything in return for my time. As long as someone gives me something valuable in return for my time, and I'm not talking about any particular video, but I will actually go through their channel and check out a bunch of videos, see what they have that they're selling, and then make a decision. Do I want to learn from this person? Do I want to focus on just watching their content in a structured way instead of, getting lost in YouTube? I don't mind if somebody who ends up giving me valuable content and is credible got me into their world through a bit of clickbait in the beginning. But that's just me. I hope that you have changed our impression about us. All right. Stephen Power 1475 says, how I make a living with music 2023 without selling, streaming, or touring, which is the title of our video, published 2 years ago. Really? September 20th, 2023. So this is a similar, and we ran out of time, but I'm going to give myself another, let's say, 10 minutes. And Stephen, I understand that this may rub you the wrong way, but when I watched this video, I asked myself, well, why would I record a new video that says the same thing? If the principles remain the same, and I, as a music producer who's responsible for hiring freelance musicians like you, is giving you the advice that I see working for our students, that I see actually being proven by those who have the talent and tenacity as being effective advice, then why would I change the video? So this is why we updated. I updated so that you could see it. And I would really try to keep a healthy perspective about it. I'm here telling you that this advice still applies. I am telling you this as someone in the business. You can check TommyZ.co once again for the kind of work that we do. We're not just some kind of, amateur musician trying to sell you a course online. No, we're doing this professionally, and we're selling you the best course in the marketplace on how to be commissioned as a freelance musician from your home studio to write songs, scores, or sounds for big brand campaigns. And this video that you're talking about, where we changed the title to 2023 because it's still relevant, is just the tip of the iceberg, okay? What I would suggest is browse around. Take a look at a few different videos. Take a look at the calls we have done with our students. Take a look at some of the success stories. Take a look at some other videos that tell you very concretely how to do very specific things that will get you your first paying gig, okay? Don't focus so much on the fact that we changed the title. Because like I said, we did it so I don't have to record a new video saying the same thing twice. All right, next comment. Envery9423 says, if ad music wasn't the most lifeless and dull music in existence, I maybe would consider pursuing this career path. But congrats to you for making a living with music. Not an easy thing to do. Okay, let's go backwards from the end. It's certainly not an easy thing to do to make a living from music today. It was never, as I talk to my peers in the business, one thing that they always say to me is it was never easy to make music and money. The reasons have changed. Back in the day, it was not easy to make a living with music because the barrier to creating a very good sounding demo was like money. Like you had to pay $400 an hour for a studio. And a lot of people couldn't do it. So how do you produce a good sounding demo and approach the label and all of that? Today, the problem that we have is that tools are accessible. There's a lot of musicians now. But the plus is also that there's a lot more opportunities for creating original music, for content, because there's a lot more content creators. So sure, you might not become a millionaire, but that's not the promise we're setting up. We're setting up the promise that there is a path that most musicians don't know about of being commissioned by music production companies who specialize in making music for brands, who will commission you to write music to a brief. And you're not gonna make millions, but we have students who are quitting their day jobs in order to do this. Because if you're really, really talented and you follow the steps, you are going to make a significant income. Sometimes it might even be income that replaces your day job. Okay? So thank you for your congratulations. Yes, it wasn't easy to break into it, but to the music, to making a living with music. But I was completely focused and determined to make that a reality because I absolutely hated my day job. I absolutely could not picture myself dying in a corporate cubicle. And so I decided I will do whatever it takes in order to break into this business. And still years after, here I am saying that, hey, this path allowed me to make a living with music. And I think it can allow a lot of other musicians who are not wanting to be on stage, who are not wanting to be on a tour bus, who are not wanting to play the streaming game, in order to at least open their eyes to this possibility, learn about this path, and then see if it's right for you. And I would not agree with you that ad music is the most lifeless and dull music in existence. The reason why is because, well, I'm doing it every day. If you go to TommyZ.co, I hope as you look through our body of work, you will not conclude that it's dull and lifeless. I certainly don't think it is. And I make my living doing this. And I would also say more objectively, let's not talk about me. Do you think brands like Nike, Apple, anyone who's culturally relevant, fashion brands, car brands, do you think they could afford to put out lifeless and dull music and get, give people goosebumps? The job of the brand is to be culturally relevant. It is to give you goosebumps. It is to have you salivating over the editing, over the fast dynamic cuts, over the music, over the sound design. I mean, ad music to me, yeah, sometimes it's boring when you're talking about a boring brand. But a lot of times you can learn a lot about the craft of keeping people's attention and giving people's goosebumps from commercials, content, and campaigns from some of the world's biggest brands. All right, next up, we have Paul Welding. MCA would be turning in his grave. Don't sell your soul to advertising. Paul Welding, I gotta appreciate the honest spirit behind your comment. But again, Uncle Z is not telling you to sell your soul to anybody. I believe that we are driven by our soul. I believe in the concept of soul. I believe that to be a good musician, you got to work with your soul. And I also believe that you can lend your musical skills in exchange for a fee to the brand or the project, the commercial project that you see fit. Never, ever sell your soul to a brand. But if you look at a lot of artists, credible artists, true artists, regardless of the genre, you might see a brand collaboration in their portfolio. I'm just saying, okay, if you want to keep yourself in the studio, you want to keep getting paid, you're going to have to get paid from brands because brands hold all the money. It doesn't even matter about musicians. Every creative craftsperson now is on the payroll of a brand. Not full time, and this is the beauty of it, is that you can decide once you break into this business, okay, who am I willing to work with? Are you telling me, Paul, there are no brands that you would write music for? No brand? Not Apple? Not a skateboarding brand? Not some fashion brand? Not Adidas? Like no one? I mean, I could hardly believe that, okay? But every creator, film directors, editors, photographers, colorists, we're all working for brands. Why? Because brands have all the money. Back in the day, it was kings or churches who were the patrons of art. So they had in their court artists who they would pay a stipend and they would like give them, room and rent, whatever. Make some music for me to give some goosebumps. That's not happening anymore. You know who's doing that now? Brands. Brands hire artists so they can give people goosebumps on their behalf because brands don't know how to do that. Brands are just buildings with spreadsheets, right? And so the question is, in order to keep yourself in the studio and not driving a forklift, not having to be behind a counter at a job you have no connection with, and then showing up at your studio tired and uninspired at the end of the day, would you rather do that and just create art? That's totally fine. If you have the energy left over at the end of the day to create art and pure music, great. I salute you for it. But I decided, you know what? Let me just keep my ass right here, right in this studio. And for half the day, I will rent out my time to brands. I will get paid for it. And that will allow me to keep creative freedom and keep my art independent from the forces of the marketplace. Because art is what I put my name on. And there are commercials that I've done that I wouldn't even put my name on, but I'll take their money. There are some commercials I would not do, and I would advise any self-respecting craftsperson or musician to define your ethos, your principles, your commandments. Who are you willing to work with? Who are you not willing to work with? I don't see how getting commissioned to create an original piece of music for something that you don't mind or you're a fan of even as a brand, I don't see why that would be a problem. All right, Next up, how are we doing on time? I didn't set a new timer. Good. What else do we have? Oh, there it is. There's the timer. Nikola Genov, 8881, says, this is the saddest thing I've ever seen on YouTube recently. Saddest thing I've seen on YouTube recently. Really? I mean, Nikola, I don't think you spend enough time on YouTube. I can almost guarantee you that there are much more sadder things that you will see other than our videos. 100% guarantee. Next up, we have D.2110. How to sell a course. Ha ha ha. Well, D.2110. We're not hiding the fact that we are running an academy and that we're selling a masterclass. In fact, this masterclass is not cheap. And this masterclass is not easy. And this masterclass is probably not for most of the musicians who are going to come across our free YouTube videos. I am not at all trying to hide behind smoke and mirrors. The links are leading you to a free training that opens your eyes, gives you a proper introduction to our business. It's a proper training. Most people that go through it will tell us that much. We never get criticized for the free training. And then it's your choice. We give you enough information to find out, hey, do I want to do this? Am I suited for this? Does this sound like something that I could do? Or not. And if not, I mean, no problem, right? We're not desperate to sell you a course. We are making our living from being commissioned by agencies and brands to create original content for their campaigns. TommyZ.co, please go there and see the work, all right? So that you realize this is real. I've been in the business for 20 years. I have a reputation in this business. But is there anything wrong with someone in the business creating a curriculum because that's what inspires me? I don't want to do another ad. I do these ads because they pay money. But what brings me a lot more fulfillment is this, talking to musicians, even skeptical musicians, especially skeptical musicians. I admire your spirit. You should be careful out there. There's a lot of wolves. There's a lot of gurus who are actually trying to sell you a course, doing something or teaching you something they're not even doing. That's not the case over here. And all you would have to do, literally, is just browse around, Google the name, look around, look at my LinkedIn, see the history. I talk about leaving the bank 20 years ago to do this. It's all true stories, right? So I don't feel as if in that particular video or ever I am very pushy with the sales. What we do is when people have short attention spans and they're scrolling like squirrels on their phone, if we ever run a paid ad, it will be a little more clickbaity. It will try to get your attention. But then what do we do with you afterward? We respect your attention. We send you to a training that is an actual training and not some bullshit. Okay? And then we tell you, hey, you want to take this seriously? We have the best training in the world on this. You'll get hands-on feedback from industry professionals. Like, who else offers you that online? I don't feel that on the YouTube channel, I am ever pushy or trying to sell you directly the course. I certainly want you to be aware of the fact that we have a free training. It will give you a proper introduction, and that will allow you to make a decision whether you are suited for this business or not. And if you are, then you're welcome to join our family. And if you're not, no sweat. But if you browse around our channel, it's kind of like sad. It makes me a little bit sad that people would say, hey, you're trying to sell a course. Really? I mean, look around our videos. We're literally giving away so much information for free. The difference in our masterclass is that there's a lot more detail, a lot more depth. and you get personal feedback from us. That's the difference. But the principles, a lot of them we're teaching online on the YouTube channel. All right, folks, so these are just some of the comments that I pulled, critical comments that I wanted to address. I love you all, folks. Honestly, all you brothers and sisters who are striving, trying your best to make music your full-time income, I love you all. I wish you all the best. Whatever I can do to be of help, please let me know in the comments below. Within reason, of course. If you have questions, please put them in the comments below. And to anybody who I quoted here, I hope that you'll appear in the comments and that we'll be able to actually give each other a virtual hug, and that you'll change our mind about what kind of frequency that we operate on. All right, folks? I'm Tommy Z. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.